In Eat&Amen, we discover some things about God's amazing world. Today, let's find out about China. Pause the video here and write down or call out as many things you already know about China in 30 seconds. China is in the continent of Asia. It is an enormous country. By area, it is the third largest in the world after Russia and Canada. It also has a big population with 1.4 billion people. This means 1 out of every 6 people in the world live in China. The landscapes in China are varied. It's got the cold Gobi Desert, rice fields, a vast coastline, forests, and the famous Himalayan mountains. The tallest mountain in the world, Mount Everest, sits on the border between China and Nepal. 50 years ago, most Chinese people lived in the countryside, but since then millions have moved to the cities, and now most Chinese live in a city. The biggest city in China is Shanghai with 21 million people, which is more than double the size of London. China is the world's second largest economy. It makes all sorts of things that get sold across the world, from mobile phones and electronics to clothes to toys. See if you can find something in your home that's been made in China. China is famous for lots of different things, but here are 5. Tea is originally from China and has been drunk for 3,000 years there. In fact, it was originally used as a medicine. Giant panda bears live in the misty mountains. They eat around 36 kilograms of bamboo a day, which is about the weight of 4 bowling balls. They've been hunted for many years, and now there are only about 2,000 left of them, although this is slowly increasing because of lots of panda reserves and projects to help them. The Chinese invented paper around 2,000 years ago, and the Chinese government was the first to make paper money. In the 9th century AD, some Chinese monks invented gunpowder. It's a mixture of saltpeter, also known as potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. Together, these materials burn rapidly and explode. The Great Wall of China is the largest man-made project in the world. It took over 2,000 years to build, and the complete route is over 20,000 kilometers. The mortar used to bind the Great Wall's stones was made with sticky rice. What an amazing country. But what about God's church in China? Christians went from Syria to China around 700 years after Jesus' birth. They told the people there all about Jesus. In the 1800s, lots of missionaries went from places like Britain, America, and Germany to China to work with the Chinese to translate the Bible into the Chinese language. As people heard about the good news of Jesus, the church grew. In John chapter 6, Jesus says that he is the bread of life. He meant that in the way that bread is one of the main things people eat, we need Jesus to be the main person in our life. He satisfies our deepest needs for love and forgiveness. In China, they eat lots more rice than bread. So when they translated that Bible verse into Chinese, they translated it as Jesus saying, "I am the rice of life." In 1950, Western Christians were expelled from the country as the Communist Party came to power. The government party thought people shouldn't believe in God, but instead of shrinking, the church in China grew. Researchers say the church has grown from 1 million people 40 years ago to now having around 100 million. We can learn so much from Chinese Christians on staying faithful to God in times of persecution, remembering that God is always with us. Pause this video and try the quiz.